more important when you communicate? The words you say or how you say them? Well, somewhat of a trick question, right? Because both are really important. UCLA conducted a study. Found that 55% of communication is nonverbal. It's your body language. Which is why when you're learning to become a better speaker, you focus not just only on delivering with your voice, but with using your whole body. So I'm going to talk about 5 different aspects of body language. Number 1 is your stance, or posture. 2 is your movement. 3, your gestures. 4, your facial expressions. And then lastly, your eye contact. So your stance, or your posture. When you're standing in front of an audience, stand up straight. You want to be able to breathe. You want your diaphragm to be open so you can breathe deeply. You project, head up. You want your legs about shoulder width apart, knees kind of loose, stay nice and balanced, relaxed. Your hands, you'll just want them down by your sides. Just hang them down by your sides here. You don't want them above your waist, and up is used for gesturing. So just keep them down by your sides. And you don't want to hide them. You don't want to do this or pockets behind your back. Now, if you're using a podium or a lectern, you'll want to avoid touching it, because what might happen is you'll start relying on it. Maybe you're leaning on it or grab onto it. It's a distraction. And you don't need to touch it, so don't. Now, when you're speaking, you're not always going to be standing. You might be sitting. One of our members some weeks ago gave a great tip, that when you're sitting in a chair, scoot away from the back of it. That'll force you to hold yourself up and maintain good posture. So that's your stance, or your posture. Let's talk about movement. Because you won't always want to stand still while you're speaking. You want to engage this part of the audience over here, and then have a little conversation with this part of the audience over here. It adds a little variety when you speak. Makes you a little more interesting. It also has the added benefit of reducing nervousness, because every time you move, you dissipate energy, and it helps to quell those nerves just a little bit. Now, your stage space will vary. You might just be standing at a podium, in which case you might just be able to shift over here or over here, but if you have a big stage, big audience, you'll want to move around a little bit more. Smaller audience, not so much. Now, you might want to step forward to engage. Maybe backwards to reflect or to conclude. And then the left to right movement would be to talk about a topic over here, and another topic over here, or maybe they'll represent different scenes in your story. So I gave a speech where I came in the stage on the right, and I opened my front door, had a scene in my entryway, and this was my living room in the middle of the stage, and then there's a scene in my family room, then we went back. My living room, every place on the stage had a purpose. What you don't want to do is start pacing around. This is really distracting, makes me look nervous, makes people feel uncomfortable. I'm sitting up here swaying around and pacing. You want to have a purpose for where you're standing. Now, what you also don't want to do is if I'm referring to something behind me, maybe there's a slide, I can look at it, but I need to talk to you, the audience. You need to see this pretty face. I'm serious, because you need to see my facial expressions. I need to be able to make eye contact. And you need to be able to hear my voice. If I'm talking to that wall over there, we're not going to be able to accomplish those objectives. So that's our movement. So next, let's talk about gestures. There are over 5,000 different types of gestures. You can use them for things like emphasizing a point, or maybe you want to engage. Who here likes to be engaged? Right? Or you might want to describe the size of something or a direction, maybe some sort of conceptual relationship. Or you might just want to dramatize. You might want to act out a story, want to demonstrate, rather than just telling the story. Now, the most effective way of communicating, the zone for communicating, would be waist up. Because if I'm making eye contact with you, and I want you to see my facial expressions to convey emotion, I don't want to be moving my hands down here. It's distracting. You won't know where to look. So, above the waist. And I also want to not just limit myself to this area here. I want to avoid this when I can, because if I'm in this zone right here, it's like I'm trying to protect myself. I'm defensive. I'm trying to protect my vital organs. It makes me look really nervous. I'm sitting here like this. So open it up a little bit. Now some things to consider. This is the audience's left to right. My right to left. I need to reverse it. So if I'm talking about going from the 80s to the 90s to 2000, I need to go in this direction. There are also cultural considerations. Different gestures mean different things in different parts of the world. In most of the world, this means okay. Certain parts of the world, it's an insult to do this to someone. Or this might not mean anything whatsoever. When Donald Trump gives speeches, sometimes he likes to get his first point, and his second point, and his third point, and it doesn't mean anything at all. And that's okay, because the goal isn't to do sign language, to literally make a gesture for every single word. I don't know about you, but that would drive me bananas. Huh? You too, huh? Right? Huh? Yeah? That's crazy. You don't want to do that. You'll look ridiculous. So you don't want to overuse gestures. And you don't want to rely on the same thing over and over again. Everyone has what they feel, their go-to gestures. So if this is yours, sort of in and out kind of thing, you want to be mindful of that. And focus attention on adding a little bit of variety each time you speak. So those are your gestures. Let's talk about facial expressions. So there are 5,000 different types of gestures, but there are 250,000 different types of facial expressions. And your face is the strongest tool that you have for conveying emotion. It allows you to draw your audience in, see how you're feeling, and see how the characters in your stories are feeling. Now, what you don't want to do is be inconsistent. If your tongue is saying one thing and your face another, there are going to be problems. You're standing in front of your group of employees and say, "Don't worry, folks, we're not going to have any more layoffs." No one's going to believe you, right? I mean, that's an absurd example. But it's true. You need to be consistent because you're going to come across as very phony if you try to fake facial expressions. So what you want to do is be natural to yourself and just let the facial expressions occur. So let's talk about the eye contact. Now, good eye contact will make you appear confident, friendly, sincere, reputable. These are all really good things. And it's the best way for you to establish a bond with your audience. Person by person. So how long? How long do you make eye contact? I don't know. No, I mean, really, there's people are saying some experts that between 5 and 10 seconds, right? But it depends. It depends on culture. It depends on how uncomfortable you're making someone feel. So if it's more than 10 seconds or on the longer side, you could appear kind of creepy, right? If you're staring someone down, you don't want to do that. You don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. But too little eye contact, and you'll appear very nervous. You'll start darting around your eyes. So here's an example of not enough eye contact. If I'm talking to you and then mid-sentence I start looking over here and talking to this person, then that's too little. I need to maintain the eye contact. I need to complete my thought on my sentence and then move on. So a tip. Know your material. If you're comfortable with your material, know what you're going to say. You don't have to pause and look up at the ceiling. You're going to break eye contact if you have to think about what you're going to say. If you're comfortable with your material, it'll be easier to maintain eye contact. So I spoke about your stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact. There are two takeaways that I want you to remember. Number one is be purposeful. You don't want to be moving around and pacing and swaying and doing this. This right here is distracting, and it's analogous to your filler words. And all of this right here, you need to eliminate. And it's just as important to remove all of that, just as important, as it is at trying to work at enhancing the delivery by adding purposeful movement. So remember that. Number two, be natural. Just be yourself. If you're trying to force gestures and facial expressions, you're going to come across very artificial. It might be awkward. Just be yourself. So let your body language mirror your feelings. And you want to expand outside your comfort zone. If you're more reserved normally, the goal is take little baby steps. Each time you speak, get a little bigger, and then a little bigger, and a little bigger, until one day it just feels natural to you. Take your time to get there. Don't try to just jump and flail your own arms around looking crazy, because it's going to appear awkward. So it takes time and practice. So 55% of communication is nonverbal. So take the time, invest the practice into enhancing your delivery, not just with your voice, but with your entire body.